Bry Guy. They played round 1 in the bracket, and Rimato actually took the first win, sending Bry Guy into loser's bracket. And then Bry Guy then faced off against... Let me see if I have it right here. Up, and we're on our way. Bry Guy faced off against nobody. He actually had a bye in his first loser's bracket. And so Bry Guy's second match is against the only person who's put him in loser's bracket so far, against Rimato. Rimato lost to Yamada yesterday, I believe. And so now they're going for it again, round 2. Hopefully Bry Guy can make it happen. So right now, these racers have a pretty close PB discrepancy. We have Rimato with a 118.05 PB and Bry Guy with a 122.04, which is a 4-minute difference between these two racers. But 4 minutes can be anything. And so I expect races with just a couple minutes between them to be fairly tight. And so we should be in for a good showing this morning. Oh, well, let's take a look here. I haven't got to see what version they're running on. So it looks like Bry Guy is running on Japanese version. And then Rimato on the left is running on what I believe to be the Italian or... Yes, Italian version. And so the differences, you'll see a couple differences coming up in the run between these two versions. Notably, we have a couple differences in EYG skip and the way that they'll be using Yoshi and the way they'll be throwing, they'll be using to get the second fruit through the door. And there's a little bit of difference in the text box you'll see as well. I believe actually that Italian has the fastest text out of all the games. But with the Japanese game load time, I think it kind of balances itself out.
No water can be sprayed. To refill tank, enter a body of water and press the R button. Instructions complete. Proceed.
Very standard movement from both racers right at the start. This is going to be one of 3 of these piranha enemies you'll see throughout the run. This first piranha enemy has a very unique mechanic than all the other ones, is where you can spray him continuously without him flinching. Oh, Bry Guy kind of missing the early grab on the shine there, sliding a little bit away. And it'll cost him a second or two, but not too far, not too much time that he'll be lost in this race. So we have Rimato taking a short lead here.
Nice work, Mario. Quite an unusual device. Is it some sort of pump?
I am Flood.
And now we all get to enjoy this lovely cutscene that every SMS runner and every SMS running fan loves to watch. It's about a 4 or 5 minute cutscene about how the people are going to force Mario to do community service over crimes he didn't commit.
Someone has been senselessly defacing Fair Delfino Isle using some paint-like substance. The accused is charged with polluting our beautiful home, and yes,
It's actually pretty funny trying to explain the premise of this game to somebody who's never played Super Mario Sunshine, explaining to them that you're playing as Mario, being forced to do community service.
expert shrine scholars have determined that this darkness has arisen because of all of our guardians. The shrine sprites have vanished from their gathering spot at the shrine gate. The reason? It's quite obvious. This horrible graffiti is to blame. Behold this sketch of the perpetrator based on eyewitness descriptions. The truth is obvious. The guilty party sits among us. It is none other than Mario.
Objection!
Overruled. I judge the defendant guilty as charged. I hereby order the defendant to clean this entire island. Until Isle Delfino is completely free of his vile heavyweight, Mario shall not be allowed to leave. Court adjourned.
Galva says just a day in the life of a black guy. Don't know if that's appropriate, but it made me laugh.
This appears to be quite a predicament, Mario. Data analysis
True.
verifies that
At least
the
Mario
island
didn't get sent to the
happens
electric
on
chair. And with all the water in this game, it probably would have been a brutal sentencing.
problem. Mario, you witnessed this object at the airstrip, correct? It is a shine sprite.
Again, thank you guys for tuning in at Speed Gaming for our first Super Mario Sunshine run of the day. There'll be more coming up later in the day around 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And so if you like what you see here, be sure to tune in there as well. Super Mario is probably one of the more aesthetically pleasing speedruns to watch. The movement is really crisp and fast in the game, and the colors are nice and bright, so it's just a fun game to watch, and to see people crush and do it as fast as they do puts my childhood to shame.
Even as we speak, and you, Mario, are being treated as a criminal. Tomorrow we must do our best to resolve this situation.
All right, so here we go. The real run is going to start now. From here on out, the runners are going to be moving pretty much non-stop and making things happen. So let's see if any of these runners are going to try for the over-the-roof strategies to save about a second or to a half a second here. Looks like both our runners just decide to go straight ahead. Probably the safer strat for a race setting. So this is the second of the 4 piranha fights that you'll see throughout the run. And it's pretty simple stuff. Just shoot them in the mouth 3 times and we're out of there.
Princess, look! On the statue's head!
And now the game is going to introduce us to our antagonist, Shadow Mario. We're thinking Flying P. And there will be multiple encounters with our Shadow Mario here. And basically the premise of the Shadow Mario fights is you have to chase him down and consistently spraying him with water to knock him down. And then once you do, you'll be rewarded with a shine sprite, except for this time, which he takes us into our first world of the game. You see Rimato going for an early opening the world, both of them getting it. If you shoot water there while Shadow Mario paints that M on the wall, you'll be able to unlock the world early without having to. If you miss it, you'll have to just spray it. It saves about a second. But both players getting it, keeping consistent right next to each other. It's a pretty tight race right now. Now we're going to see the first case of RNG in the game. There's a spider that both players are going to try and jump on to get to the top of this tower. We're actually going to be skipping the first shine sprite and going straight to our second shine sprite of this world, Bianco Hills, and fighting Petey Piranha. So Rimato not... Right guy getting a little bit closer than Rimato was, but they're both right where they need to be. Oh, what a nice save by Bride Guy. Knowing that he wants to make that first windmill cycle, he slides down and jumps right to it. All right, you're going to see here our runners both taking advantage of a technique called spam spraying. Very nice by Rimato. So Brad Guy opting to stay on the ground on his Spam Spray. I think Rimato is going to be doing our backflip Spam Spray. Rimato, that version of Spam Spray is a little bit faster than what Brad Guy is doing, but saves about a second. It's quite a bit harder and easier to miss a couple Spam Sprays by doing what Rimato's doing, but when you get consistent at it, it will definitely save time. Pretty good PD fight for both these runners. As you notice, both these runners are jumping in the air and ground pounding. You'll see that throughout the entire run. By ground pounding under a shine, it brings Mario right back to the ground faster than if he were just to jump normally. So it saves about a couple seconds throughout the entire run. I mean, if you have to grab a bunch of shines throughout the run and you're hitting that every single time, you'll save a couple seconds as opposed to just normal jumping and grabbing it. Alright, so now both these players are on to our next shine, which is going to be our first secret of the run. Anytime we talk about a secret, secrets in this game are kind of abstract looking levels where Mario will be losing his flood device, which is that water pack he has on his back, and he'll have to just go it alone. But there's tons and tons of strategies for all of these secret levels. Oh, Brad Guy having a little bit of trouble on the pole there. But there's tons of strategies for all these levels. People have grinded these levels out to make them as optimal as possible. So let's watch Rimato now as he jumps right into it. Oh, getting caught up on the block. But a good backup there from Rimato, keeping it going. Brad Guy doing it the way that you want to see it be done. So Brad Guy able to make up a little bit of time there. Oh no, just missing the shine. Commentator's curse. Probably all the time he would have made up there. Just missed it on that ground pound. All right, so both these players are now going to go for a cutscene skip here. So here's our third Piranha fight of the run. And basically, they're going to try to cancel out a cutscene by entering another cutscene. So typically what would happen here after they defeat this Piranha is they would have to... a house would spawn from where the Piranha currently is, and then they would end up right in front of that house. But what both our runners are going to try to do, as you see Rimato doing, they're going to shoot the Piranha from afar, and then quickly go back to that level that they were just in, and try to get into the cutscene of entering the level, and Rimato gets it. And then it cancels out the cutscene for the last thing. And here you go, Brad Guy now going for it. And Brad Guy gets it as well. It's a pretty tight timing. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you get it, you should be able to do it almost every time. Alright, so now we're into the first of our a handful of red coin levels that are in this run. Red coin levels really test the movement ability of a runner. It's kind of, they're really tricky. After a little bit of practice, should we get it? Both of them having pretty good movement so far. Kind of taking the same exact route. They look like they're moving pretty the same. Rimato with a nice momentum spin out of that. Let's see if Brad Guy is going to go for a momentum spin as well. Brad Guy opts to just hover all the way to the tower there. So again, with runners who have PBs this close in time, the race could very well come down to who makes the first big mistake. And so that's probably what we're watching for here. Rimato obviously with a better PB, but that does not count Brad Guy out at all. In a race setting, really anything could happen with runners with times these close. Brad Guy, nice move, or Rimato with some nice move and getting to PD. Rimato as well, getting on that wall pretty easily. And both are gonna launch the little piggies. So this is our next. This is probably our first instance of RNG, our big instance of RNG within this run. There's going to be another really big one later in the run, but this one, this PD fight, PD can fly all around this map, and if he flies in an undesirable direction, he can really waste some time for you. So as you can see for Bry Guy, it's taking much longer for PD to find a spot that he wants to call home. But for Rimato, PD decided to go over the wall, which forces Rimato to have to wait for PD to come back around, which wastes quite a bit of time. Hopefully Bry Guy will just get PD to keep moving over to that left side and get him to stop 2 times. Rimato getting a couple tornadoes here. Nice. Oh, Bry Guy getting some really bad RNG. PD is not being kind to him. Alright, Bry Guy finally getting PD down, and all these runners already know where the shine's gonna spawn at, so Bry Guy's gonna go ahead and wait for it right there, and he's gonna hit a ground pound right at the right time to grab it as quickly as possible. And I believe Rimato is taking out the last of our Piranha fights here. And this is going to unlock Gelato Bay, Gelato Beach, which is one of the 7 levels you'll see our runners going through. Alright, so Rimato's now in Gelato, and you'll see Rimato going for a skip called Gelato Skip. So Gelato is a very special case in comparison to all the other worlds. Gelato has its very last shine, the 8th shine, that's always available to grab within the game, while you're in Gelato. And so Rimato is going to try and clip through this hut here with the use of this coconut to go ahead and grab this 8th shine. And what that's going to allow him to do is unlock every single level. Rimato having a little bit of trouble here on his first try. But what that's going to allow him to do is unlock every single level in Gelato. And why that's important is because the mechanics of this game, in order to get to Bowser, the final boss fight of the game, we need to defeat every single Shadow Mario in every single world. And Shadow Mario is located in the 7th level of every world. And there's 8 shines in every world. And so by getting the 8th shine here in Gelato right away, they're able to unlock every single level, thus skipping levels 1 through 6 in Gelato and being able to jump right to level 7. Bry Guy getting Gelato Skip first try.
Hello there.
Hey, I can hear you.
Excuse my coffee. I'll join the commentary for the until the end of the race. and right away you can see that Rimato got a decent quick kill on the first Shell Mario that is required to unlock Corona, as just explained by Cooperative. While Bright Guy is just getting unlucky with the green Pianta and having to do some sort of backup strats, which he has performed. Yeah, it was a good backup for...
It's a pretty good backup. That could have been much worse if that Shadow Mario got away from him.
Yeah, I mean, he could have spam sprayed Shadow Mario on the slope, which would have applied enough water to kill him relatively quickly as well. In the meantime, Rimato has entered Pianta Village, which is originally supposed to be one of the worlds that is being done later, and especially since Yoshi is required for one of the shines, at least intentionally. You just enter Pianta with relatively simple movement, a wide turn, which carries all the momentum, or vertical momentum you have, and you can change your direction and thus wall kick off this wall.
Yeah, normally in a casual playthrough, you would need to unlock the rocket nozzle to be able to get up there, but like Laboratory just explained, with some fancy movement, we're able to get up there quite early in the run.
Yeah. One thing that is to note is that these chomplets have the RNG of Bright Guy and Rimato just had different patterns for the last chomplet. Rimato got the worst pattern, and though it's generally relatively minor RNG for this shine.
So how much time does the worst pattern to the best pattern save, roughly, in that chomp level?
I think the absolute worst pattern loses about 8 seconds, if I'm not wrong. But the last pattern just loses, I think, 5 to 6. Don't about that time, so Rimato just... No, it's not a really big difference, but everything can happen in a race anyway.
So here we see our runners encountering Piantissimo for the first time, and he'll show up again later in the run, but basically this level is just an auto-scroller. The level doesn't end till Piantissimo, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, it's kind of a funny name, but until he makes it up to the flag.
Yeah,
and so...
Yeah, go ahead.
And so basically you can make it up to the flag as fast as you'd like, but until he gets there, the level's not going to end.
Yeah, basically every difference you will see in this shine will be the movement to Piantissimo, text mashing, and the diversion difference. I think Piantissimo and the shine has like less text boxes, which add up to, I think, 2 seconds. Well, Italian text is 2 seconds slower on Piantissimo than Japanese.
Good. Alright, so now here in this next level, in Pianta 3, we're going to see our runners take advantage of what's called a damage boost. So they're going to intentionally get hit by the wind spirit that they drag off the bridge with them, which is going to allow them to kind of get launched a little bit into that lava, but get some invincibility frames from that hit and be able to run through the lava, which would normally instant kill you and keep you bouncing around and waste a lot of time. Oh, Bright Guy with a little bonk there. But he still gets the...
It's all fine when... I mean, even if the last wind didn't hit him, or he wouldn't be in a position to perform the lava boost strat, he could have waited for a blob maybe to hit him as well.
And then if that all misses, they can go ahead and head back and grab another wind spirit.
Yeah, or they could do... there are a couple of damageless strats that don't require an enemy and don't require getting hit as well. But I don't think that both of these runners really would have to use them anytime soon.
So can you tell us a little bit about the RNG Rimato got on this chain chomp?
Yeah, he basically got the worst pattern, even though they're not really that different. Okay, Bright Guy backing up the drop A input there, but
Oh, that's gonna waste a lot of time. Bright Guy was already just a little bit behind Rimato, and then just making a little bit of a flub there is gonna cost him just a little bit more time now.
Yeah, at least he has he got the best RNG to kind of compensate it, even though the fall has cost a bit more than just the 2 seconds he saved over Rimato's RNG. He manipulates the big chain jumps to go to a certain way, obviously to the bath as quickly as possible, and manipulates him to actually go to the bath instead of dragging him into it, dragging the jump into it by grabbing the chain there. Do you want to explain Yoshi Skip, or?
Sure. So Yoshi Skip is normally like Larvitar told us earlier, is that this this set of worlds was something that was intended for us to experience later in the game, and this level is a good example of that, because typically you would need Yoshi to spray off that goop there, because our water nozzle can't take it off. But just by clipping through that big tree there, by adjusting your camera angle, you're able to drop down and be pushed through the bottom of that weird shaped mushroom and get into the loading zone of this next secret level here.
One thing to note is that this secret level has quite some RNG to it. There's a relatively low percentage that one of the runners gets in what is called early cycle amongst most people, in which they can talk to the Pianta early enough, so they don't have to go around this little block like the Pianta for Rimato did.
Now, if Bright Guy can get early cycle here, he'll be able to make up some pretty good time.
Yeah, I think Rimato's RNG wasn't even bad at all. So in order to save time over him, he would be required to get early cycle, which he unfortunately didn't.
He would have got it if he went for the longer toss on that.
He wasn't in the position to do this. Skipping the platform isn't really that simple. I would say you just need to be in the right position and to have a good angle as well. And since the Pianta was way back, and since the Jaxer was at his furthest point away from the platform, there was no way that Bright Guy could have performed the platform skip.
Gotcha. So Rimato now in the level titled Piantas in Need, which has been a level that's been optimized really a lot throughout the years, and it's kind of one of the levels that are point to in showing how good a runner's skill is.
Yeah, it's actually there are some things to it that determine what time you get. Is how if you miss one early unlock, it can cost you like. Oh, I think the worst one to miss would be the little Pianta kit, which would lose 4 seconds. Most other missing early unlocks only lose like 3 seconds.
And is it true that that the different, like the male Piantas and the female Piantas both have different animations coming out of the goop, correct?
I never really paid attention to it, but I think so. I mean, yeah, they have different animations, but I don't know if they
If it costs any different of time.
yeah, if they are based on what on how long they take.
All right, Ramada going into our third Shadow Mario fight. And then second, if you're not including the first one where he snatches up Peach. Oh, nice quick kill from Rimato.
Yeah, he didn't go for the insta kill, which is basically it is mostly performed during a rollout where you during the rollout you have such an angle that you can kill Shadow Mario with just one spam spray directly when you perform the rollout. Then it's not really that difficult, honestly, but it can cost you quite a lot of time if you miss it. So the quick kill is most of the time the safer option there.
So Rimato here is going for a skip called Honey Skip. Would you like to explain Honey Skip for us?
It's a pretty linear skip that you clip into a building to get out of bounds into a death zone. He sets his angle up and a position to die on a specific frame, and the frame that is required is basically the first frame of entering the pinner unlocking cutscene. Maybe we will see the cutscene for Bry Guy when he doesn't go for Honey Skip. But I think he would be required to do this to save a little bit of time overall. And yeah, he goes for it.
Very nice. I've seen Honey Skip has become kind of a standard thing now in a lot of runs.
Yeah, it's because it's not really as difficult as it seems when talking about a first or frame perfect trick, but it's kind of linear. And right when I say this, the classic caster curse.
So Brad Guy missing Honey Skip there, and thus showing us the cutscene skip we all didn't want to see.
Yeah, at least we get to see it. I mean, it's not that common for us to be able to watch it. In the meantime, we completely dismissed another cutscene skips, the other cutscene skips that Rimato did, which save about 3 minutes, and they are even more linear.
Yeah, which is pretty
Honey
amazing.
Skip.
The most simple cutscene skip saves such a huge chunk of time. And all he's doing is, right when the cutscene should start, he's just pausing and exiting the level, which for some reason just causes us to head right into the next part where we should be in, skipping the cutscene entirely.
I don't even know what the weirdest part is. That it is possible or only possible for these two cutscenes in a one.
Because that's that same technique in trying to skip a cutscene. If you do it anywhere else in the game, it'll send you right back to the start of the run.
Let's see if Bry Guy can at least get a good Mecha Bowser, getting relatively early shots. I think Rimato missed.
I believe he missed his first shot.
He missed one shot, then the other just the other rocket I think disappeared then. Talking about Rimato, he just skipped the mole fight, which isn't really a spectacular fight anyway. By just not really clipping through the mole, but the mole's hitbox is just the epitome of sunshine hitboxes and collision. Sometimes just non-existent. Bry Guy having struggles with Mecha Bowser as well. But at least he gets the first round.
All right, Romano going into Pinna 3, which is again another one of those levels that people widely consider as like almost like a standard to show your skill level within the game. It's another red coin mission, and it's probably one of the more difficult red coin missions, even as a casual.
I mean, for there are like more or less three strats currently. One pretty old one which was basically obsolete in 2015 for top runners. Then the strat Rimato is using, which saved like 5 seconds over the old one, and have, well, one momentum spin jump, just some basic, not really basic movement, but nothing too fancy. We probably won't see the fastest strat by Brie Guy. I think he will go for the same cycle as well.
Ooh, that was close by Brad Guy, almost sliding off the edge there. But he reels it back in, and he's gonna keep moving.
I mean, we talked about cycles before. Maybe you want to explain what the runners want to do in Pinna 4?
Yes. So Pinna 4 here, we're gonna go in, and there's these 5 giant turtles that our runners are gonna spray to wake up. Let's see if Romato's gonna go for a 1 cycle, but basically. Yep. And it looks like Rimato is going to go for 1 cycle, but these turtles are going to slam. And every time you ground pound one of these turtles, after a few seconds, a cutscene is going to begin. Oh, Rimato having a little bit of trouble there. I think he got one of them, right?
Yeah, he got one of them.
So we'll see.
I'm not sure if that's unfortunate or not, because he just had this little cutscene playing. But at least he got 3 now, and it will be maybe a 2 okay, it won't be a 2 cycle, it will be a 3 cycle, which loses quite amount of time, and to be fair, this shine is atrocious.
Yes. So optimally, you'd want to get all 5 turtles in kind of 1 swoop. That way, all of those cutscenes just play in 1 go. But you know, things happen just like it just showed. And
also, Brie Guy actually didn't go for the strat do not use there in Pinna 3, but for the old, I don't know when the strat was implemented, but it was, I think, before 2014 even. A pretty old strat, but it's it makes the shine pretty easy as well. Coming up, we have a trick called EYG, which is acronym for Early Yoshi Go Round, and there's a bunch of stuff happening in during EYG. First, the runners have to get onto Yoshi and make him proper by eating durian. Then they Rimato will perform fruit storage with a papaya or a pineapple, which as said, stores the fruit, and for the next time he eats it, he presses B to grab something with his tongue.
And this is a trick that's only within the PAL version of the game.
Yeah, the fruit storage. He just sprayed the stew to create a platform in which he sidesteps into, and clips through the wall there to not enter the loading zone to the park. The reason why he has to be purple there is that the platforms move. Oh,
Rimato having a little bit of trouble here. Trying to get EYG.
Yeah, the timing on this when to spray the stews can be a bit tricky as well, and it's well, Rimato's messing up and Briga can catch up. So
Yep. Raika could really capitalize on this, and I was actually practicing this trick early. Being a newer runner to the game, I was practicing this trick earlier today, and I was doing it on level 5 with the slower ones, and it's a little tricky to get used to when to spray them and how to sidestep to get through them.
I still believe that the stews in Pinner 5 make EYG harder, but yeah.
Oh.
Yes, maybe it's because I'm very impatient. But Braga just threw the papaya into the park because he can't do a fruit storage. And he has to create a purple platform because it moves horizontally, or which is required to surpass this invisible barrier that, well, it is invisible. The entire park isn't loaded except the Yoshi go round for some reason, and you have to be orange to enter the secret.
Rimato doing really well on that latest secret that he just got through, going for the over the top on the right strat, and no mistakes there. He got it pretty flawlessly.
Oh, Braga bonking on there?
Ooh, this might mess up his cycles.
Yeah, he will have to be really creative with what he's going to do now.
Unfortunate. But luckily in secret levels, whenever you die, it just sends you right back to the start of secret level.
At least he has the cycle, he can do the cycle he's used to.
So Bright Guy's going for over the top to the left, a little bit different than you just saw from Rimato.
Man, I think Bright Guy isn't even that old of a runner, and I can see I see all these old strats that he in 2014, for instance. It's quite nice to see, actually.
Alright, Rimato finishing up Pinna, and now he's gonna head over to Rico.
Yeah. One of the worlds that is considered to be easy, but it has some... Well, there is a few points in which you can lose a bunch of time. And it has Rico 4, which can really... mess you up with one dropped A input or something else. But we are not there yet.
Alright, Rimato going to our first Gooper Booper fight. And there'll be 2 of these. Intentionally, originally there's supposed to be 3 within the game, but we're able to skip one in a later trick in the game that we'll run up on in No Key. But it's a fairly simple fight. Just spray his face, and if he slams his arms down and you grab him once he slams his arm down, you're able to grab his nose and he won't retaliate with any attacks.
Oh, I remember. Braga is doing the save warp route, which saves...
Oh, very interesting.
I think it saves not even a second over doing the regular route, and it has the advantage of doing Rico last, which is, as said, considered to be the easiest world of them all.
I was just gonna say, I've known runners to... Some runners do Rico last because they think it's less pressure than doing Noki last. And so if they're having a good run and they pound through Noki, they can head into Rico which is relatively, again, considered to be easy. So this should be interesting. It's gonna be a little less easy to determine who's ahead.
Yeah, I think Braga will need be able to finish Rico after Noki in like 9.5 minutes. So we can try to at least if he's done with Noki, we can see who's ahead or not.
Nice momentum spin jump there from Bry Guy.
there are a bunch of threats to get over this gap. This one was one of the more rare ones, but it still fulfills its purpose.
And you see over here on the left side, Rimato going for the blooperless race, which saves quite a bit of time in comparison to actually using the blooper.
Yeah, you can do the blooper race with a blooper as well, and just hit the checkpoint. Just hit 2 checkpoints over the entire race, or you can just do it entirely blooperless. And yeah, the checkpoints are quite wide, so you don't have to be on the track really. You can Rimato, when it was on ground, when he hit one of them.
Alright, Rimato entering Rico 6?
Rico 3.
Or sorry.
Yeah.
3. I doubled it. But which is I've heard to be the hardest shine in the game.
Yes, exactly. In 2014, it was known that it was determined that there's only a 1 frame window to be able to grab the gate from below and get through it, and it only saves like not in maybe 15 seconds. So the fact that Rimato went for it is quite respectable.
What a brave man. And in a race setting.
Yeah, in a high pressure race setting. In the meantime, Bryguy, after having a little chat with the Pianta, maybe to calm down a little from the nerves, and enters Sarina Beach, which is also a really bad word. You will have to defeat Manta first, and which, thank goodness, we have spam sprays for, which make the fight a lot times easier, and well, maybe more hand destroying, but faster and easier by a substantial amount.
Now we see Rimato over here on the left-hand side going through Rico 4, which is could be a really big run killer for a lot of people. It's not so much that it's technically difficult, as it's very easy to make a mistake on this secret level, but he goes through it pretty quickly.
Yeah, it was one of the... I think... I'm not sure, yeah. I think it's the one really fast RTA viable cycle. I think there's one cycle on the very last rotating platform that some people do in real-time attacks instead of just individual levels.
Gotcha.
But it was a very clean Rico 4 by him, except the entrance. He didn't.
He did
really
fall off from the top. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
Alright, Rimato going to our second Gooper Booper fight, which is exactly the same as the last one, except you have to pull his nose back just a little farther this time, and you're on top of a big platform.
Yeah, and the Booper has a new attack as well, but it's completely weird, and I have no idea why the developers designed such an attack for him. It's basically a spinning attack, but you won't even see it in a run, and it's completely irrelevant.
That's amazing. I didn't even know he had another attack.
Yeah, too little people know this, and the attack just doesn't do much as well. So Bryguy is going into Sarina 2, which has a kind of tricky entrance, but in which he just bounces off a Boo probably and does a few wall kicks to enter the loading zone, and then has to overcome a secret that is quite long. It's not really as difficult as some other secrets maybe, but it can be a huge time loss when you also mess it up. And with the nerfs, everything can happen.
Oh, well, there was a bonk right there. Fry Guy did have good movement getting into the secret. So that's unfortunate that he just bonked and fell off there.
Yeah, the entrance was pretty smooth. Rimato13 doing Rico 6, collecting 8 red coins on the water, using the blooper with the best handling, with the least amount of risk, and basically the same speed as every other blooper, and not missing a single coin. Everything went well for him there. Bry Guy not trying to risk
Just
dying
trying to get
again.
the level done.
Yeah, it loses like, I think 45 seconds when you die at the end. You don't want to die.
So Rimato, doing what's widely considered the easiest Shadow Mario fight. Even for a casual, you could probably learn this in your first or second try. All you literally do is just walk up and spray, and then he'll go down there every single time.
Yep. Also, Rimato's a little bully and sprays the swimming Pianta.
Just because he can.
Yes. What a mean guy.
Alright, and Rimato's going to go ahead and he's going to move forward into Bianco.
Yeah. He has to finish Bianca there, and Bry Guy messing up the shines, unfortunately. Maybe losing like 5 seconds, thinking he was in Serena 4 already. But he has to first clip through the glass by using a banana and once again abusing the great collision of this game and how it's handled. It skips the skip that Bry Guy just did. Basically skips exploring the entire hotel, different rooms, collecting the pineapple.
Such a confusing level.
As a casual, there's a bunch of stuff you have to do and a bunch of places where you have to go.
Alright, Rimato's over here into our secret. I wonder the strategy he's going to use. So as you see over here on the left side, Rimato using a different strategy to skip the block there. He instead went for a double jump, spin jump to grab the wall on the right and jump off of it. As in comparison to Bry Guy's momentum spin jump, which just launched him straight to the platform. Pretty much every block skip will kind of get you up there with about the same cycle.
Yeah, some being faster than the other. We're also getting it a bit quicker than Bry Guy. But the fastest method there would be a momentum spin jump that was different from Bry Guy's. And which I think 1 second faster. You get to the platforms 1 second faster and have to do more precise movement to not fall down and losing 50 seconds. Bry Guy also doesn't opt into the momentum spin jump for the last block. There. But it's still a pretty decent secret.
Look at Rimato right here, just showing off with some spin jump off those little walls.
Yeah, I think he's enjoying himself this race. Do you want to explain King Boo or?
Oh no! Please explain King Boo.
So King Boo is basically a fight that is mostly determined by RNG. He either gives you a fruit cycle or an enemy cycle, and there are also forced enemy cycles between each hit with fruits. You want to have the pattern or the cycles fruit, enemies, fruit, enemies, fruit. You have to throw a pepper at him, and then any other fruit that will count as a hit. You will see that as soon as Guy gets something that is out of the order, so maybe enemies right away, he will instantly go under King Boo and cancel the concurrent cycle.
Good RNG getting fruits in the start.
Yeah, the what cycle he gets aside from the forced enemy cycles is basically RNG, though the chances to actually get bad RNG aren't really that bad. He has to wait now a little until the enemies, or in this case the bubbles, spawn to make the cycle he just skipped count as being done.
If you do it too early, it'll just come back out and it'll do another cycle of enemies or bubbles or coins, but not fruit.
Yeah. Every extra cycle he can cancel earlier because it's neither a forced fruit or it's neither a fruit cycle or an enforced enemy cycle. I think the Manta by Rimato was pretty decent. He had no big struggles with them. And Bryga getting 2 extra cycles, which is pretty unfortunate for him. Especially considering that I think he's still behind Rimato. But at least nobody of the runners struggled with EYG this time.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of what you're going to see on Rimato's screen over there to the left is a lot of what we've been seeing from Bry Guy already.
Yeah, maybe some different threats, maybe some better ones, maybe some worse ones. But basically the same principles as we explained during Bry Guy's Sarina visiting.
Nope, Red Blink, they both opted for different routes. I believe Bry Guy opted for Larvar. What did you call it again?
It's the safe warp route.
Safe warp route.
Also, I'm not Bry Guy.
Or sorry, Larvar.
Yeah, it happens. Bry Guy currently doing Sarina 6. It's basically a cleaning mission. For the version he's on, NTSCJ, the requirement for having the beach cleaned and stuff is a lot stricter, and considering that on all versions there's invisible goop, NTCJ has the misfortune to also have to clean the invisible goop as well.
I heard it was it in Japan? It was you need to get a 99% of the goop in comparison to a 95% in the other versions.
I think very recently Zalpico Kirby had the exact values for how many units of goop you have to clean off for JP, but I can't remember them. But yeah, it's I think about 89 98 I mean to 99% of the goop. While for Pal and Rimato he has to clean way less.
Mm-hmm. Brad Guy just bonking on that wall there. Just messing up the opening movement going into the hotel itself. And Rimato getting the banana skip.
Well, you don't skip a banana. It's actually a pineapple skip, if you think about it. Yeah. But yeah, a decent Shadow Mario by Bra Guy, a good 3 by Rimato, and the race is, I think, pretty close. I would have to calculate how much time the individual shines would take for Rimato. But I think it's about... I think they are about... Or maybe not that far, or not that close. I think Bra Guy
I
is...
want to say Rimato probably has about 1 minute to 2 minutes ahead of
Yeah.
Bra Guy.
I would say 2 minutes, I think. Bra Guy doing a pretty movement-intensive shine in Noki, maybe what is considered as the most difficult shine actually in the entire game, to do as optimally as you can. That is, and it's basically a bunch of platforming and cycles that you have to get, or not. There's one cycle that you are more or less concerned about, and that is when the goop balls are thrown or shot by the mole. After getting a really clean trainer 4. And we forgot to mention Casino Skip, which fortunately is there to skip like at worst 2 minutes, and most of the time probably more.
There's a lot of little tasks you have to take care of within that casino to be able to get into that pipe that they're able to just kind of ledge grab and walk through to get to. Oh, I missed what happened there with Bra Guy, but he fell down a little bit.
Yeah, he missed the shine and fortunately didn't press B, so he didn't get an extra boost of speed and possibly falling off the entire cliff as well and losing about a minute. Bra Guy basically living on the edge there. You mentioned the third Blooper Blooper fight. Maybe it's time to explain Noki 2 a bit.
Ah, yes. So normally we would encounter again Gooper Blooper within this level here. And it would require going through a long sequence of like normally casually like climbing up the walls and doing all this kind of stuff. But here, as you can see, Bra Guy, super simple, just grabbing the jump pad there and just diving straight into where the shine would be for this level. Once you know kind of the angle you need to be at, you can do that consistently almost every time. So by placing that jump pad right there for him, it just kind of clips him through that wall, and he's able just to dive straight down, completely skipping all the necessary steps to get to that shine in the first place.
I think so far Rimato got the best RNG on King Boo right now. So maybe he will save even more time over Bra Guy during the shine, depending on if he gets any extra cycles now or not. Oh boy, Noki 3. A shine that basically prepares for the next shine actually, which is a boss fight underwater. And yeah, it's basically trying to handle as much of the momentum there to, and wide turning to preserve it. And it's not it's a quite tricky level to optimize. So it's good to see that Bra Guy did a good job on getting enough momentum.
And I've heard it said that even though Super Mario Sunshine, basically main mechanic is the water, it has one of the worst water mechanics out of any Super Mario game.
This might be true. I don't want to be the judge of it.
You're doing a good job, Nintendo. Just keep it up. And you see here Rimato on the left, cleaning off the beach. But you'll see he gets to be a little more lenient with the amount of goop, like we were saying before. The differences in versions allows him to not have to focus on every single drop.
Yeah, he can leave out a bunch and get high 220 times. Maybe even a 230 if he would have been brave, but it doesn't feel like it seems. Oh.
Would you like to explain for us this eel fight coming up here?
Rat actually got it to 228. I think he got it last race against Yamata as well. He seems to be really consistent at getting really good times there. For Eelie's mouth, you basically have to defeat the eel by cleaning its teeth. Bright Guy will probably opt for cleaning 5 teeth right away, and then trying to manipulating the eel to try to eat him, and skipping a cycle of the eel spinning around, just wasting a bunch of time. He didn't quite get the 5 teeth, but he still does a good job overall. Now he tries to get into a position in which he will get hit by the gold tooth when he cleans the eel off, which skips a cutscene and lets him move around during it, so he can grab the shine right away.
Oh, just sliding past it just a little bit.
In the meantime, Rimato has finished Sarina and just enters Noki as well. I'm not quite sure how much of a difference or how far behind Bry Guy is, but I think it's considering how solidly Rimato has been playing. I think Braga gets even further and further behind, and Braga has to step it up to be able to beat Rimato.
I think it's gonna take Rimato having to make some pretty big mistakes here in this world for Braga to make the comeback. Unfortunately, we don't want to see that, but I think that's probably what is going to have to happen if Braga wants to make it through. For those of you just joining us, our 2 runners here have opted to take 2 separate routes. And so Braga taking the save warp route, and then Rimato doing, I think, what is the standard any % route.
Yep. The route differences opt into doing Rico last, opposed to doing Noki last, and saving at most 1 second, depending on how good your Pinner 2 Rico movement is. Coming up for Braga, we have Noki 6, and this shine is notorious. Maybe you want to say some words about it, Cooperative?
Well, all I could say is that it's widely referred to as Choky 6 for being the shine that can cost a ton. It's a super costly shine, and it's very technical. I think many would consider it to be the hardest secret level in the game.
Yeah, there's a bunch of platforming and difficult platforming as well.
And it's become quite optimized too, but to do it as optimally as possible, it's pretty risky. takes a lot of time and a lot of practice, and let's see how Bright Guy chooses to approach this level here.
Considering how his other strats in some shines, I don't think that he will go for the green cycle, which is the best or fastest cycle humans can go for. And I think the Taz didn't even get the...
Do you think Bright Guy there opted to jump intentionally, or do you think he just made a mistake?
He had a wrong angle and couldn't get a wall kick off. Couldn't get a wall kick off the wall, so he just fell along with the wall. But I think he will take it a bit more safely now.
Yep.
Rimato struggling a little bit in the end of Noki 3, while Bright Guy makes it through the devilish shine. Even though it's not that bad of a shine, but
once you get used to, and it's just like anything in this game, once you practice it enough and you get the muscle memory, but it definitely is a tough one to get down at the start.
Yeah, I mean, with nerfs, Noki 6 can be quite a challenge, but luckily for Bright Guy, he uses Safe Warp anyway, so he doesn't have to worry about nerfs in Noki 6. But the nerfs from the race are still there. I think that's fair.
So Bright Guy is gonna be heading into Rico now.
Yeah, he will Safe Warp again, probably. Yeah, he will. And then enter Rico. And then finish and go to Corona. While Rimato is still hanging around in Noki.
What do you expect to see here out of Rimato? You think he'll go for a 6-tooth?
I think Rimato will go for a 5-tooth. I don't think that he practiced 6-teeth either. And yeah, he seemingly goes for a 5-tooth, which is respectable. Messing up 6-teeth can... I'm not quite sure how backing up 6-teeth, how difficult it is. But yeah, better safe than, being safe than sorry.
Bright Guy finishing up the first Gooper Booper fight there in Rico.
I think Rimato is actually on a pretty decent run. I think it's I think it can be a 119, which would have been really hard for Bright Guy to actually beat. I think I think at worst it is a 120 pace run by Rimato, so he's been playing not as bad as good as he possibly could, considering his PB is, I think, a low 118. But still, it's for a race, it's a really solid time and really respectable. And Bright Guy isn't even on bad pace as well.
Rimato again just having a little fun, going all the way to the top and then diving all the way down the fountain.
Also, Broiga doesn't do the blue plus race, so we can see how Riku 2 looks like with having a blue bar. And it's not really that much different.
You notice he kind of takes the same route, except he's limited here. Obviously can't jump up on the top of this wall here to the left, so he has to ride it all the way to the end.
Yeah, it's actually not that much slower. Rimato's race time was a low 20. Braiga's race time is a 25. And Rimato has to get up to the platform or to the top of the walls and such. So it's not really that much of a difference as it might seem. Let's see how Braiga will do the infamous frame perfect shine that is that is just so difficult and risky to do.
Oh man, this really shows how high caliber these two runners are. Guy taking it home on his first try.
Rimato getting a blue cycle, which is
just missing green cycle there.
Yeah, I think he. It seemed like he didn't go want to go for a green cycle anyway. Doing the pyro kick and all that, he can. It's not even a cycle that is more than 2 seconds slower, so he just opts for more consistent strats.
And we have Guy going into Rico 4.
Yeah. Let's see how he will do it. Rimato's Rico 4 was, or his secret at least, was really good. So we and considering that Rimato is already done with Noki, Braga has to step it up and hope for mistakes from Rimato in Corona.
So after this, we're going to see Rimato heading into Corona Mountain, which is our last zone of the game. And then
Pretty
from
good.
there, it's going to take us to... That was really good by Guy.
Yeah, a really solid secret. So Rimato, I don't think that he will go for the fastest strats for the last world, but he will go for I think the standard strats, which are pretty safe, and though if you somehow mess up anything, then you basically you are dead most of the times.
Yeah. Guy having a little trouble getting up to the top of that chimney there. Alright, Rimato's coming up on the infamous boat. Let's see if... I'm guessing he'll probably go for speedboat.
Yeah, speedboat is actually considered to be way easier than trying to be... when runners learn speedboat, they get it quite consistently, as it is way easier than just trying to wing it with a slow boat.
If you've ever played this game casually, you know the pain of trying to direct that boat through the lava. The controls are really weird on it. And alright, well we have Rimato entering into our Bowser fight.
This will be a high 119, I think.
Yeah, I was thinking he'll probably get a sub 20 here.
Yeah, which is a pretty respectable time for a race. Again, in some races it would have beaten some race times from the first seeds even. So Pretty solid run by him for sure. Getting hit by the goop twice
Oh, twice
already.
now.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. As long as he doesn't die, he's all fine.
Three times.
And I think this might have just killed the sub 120. Yep,
Oh, very nice.
a 120
Rimato.
flat by Rimato after getting gooped 3 times. Raga getting a 130 on the red coins. Pretty decent time. He will finish Rico with Rico's 7 now, and then head to Corona as well. I think I think both of the runners will be less than 2 minutes behind the PBs for this race, which is
really good.
yeah, it's really pretty solid.
So,
Even-
I think we have after this win by Rimato, I believe Brad Guy is now eliminated from the tournament after this race.
Yep.
Being double eliminated by Rimato. Oh, having a little trouble there on the Shadow Mario.
Yeah. I think he just needed one more hit and didn't get it. Quite unfortunate stuff. Loses a bunch of time to something that is, yeah, he just needed one hit. It's pretty unfortunate.
All right, Brad Guy's gonna go ahead and he's gonna head into Corona Mountain to finish this up.
On a side note, during the flooded plaza, your camera angle will face towards the last world you were in. So he will, his camera will be faced towards, yeah, Rico instead of Naoki like Rimato. Just a side note from using safe warp here, I guess. It's nothing really that matters though.
Interesting. Just a fun fact.
Though I've been wondering one thing, that if you I wonder if a safe warp after the last Shadow Mario and entering the flooded plaza like this would save any time, as you have control over Mario right away, and you could die from the very beginning instead of
Interesting. Yeah,
spawning
and instead of landing in the water.
Yeah, you would probably still land in the water. So
Get a little bit more distance.
yep, it would be required to be timed. Also, the falling, you have more downwards momentum when diving.
Oh, Brad Guy crashing the boat. He's gonna try for boatless. Oh,
Yeah, it was.
he was pretty far back.
Yeah, it was a bad spot for him to crash the boat, as boatless is not really as difficult when you are already arrived the middle platform. This time getting the speedboat quite nicely. Overall, really good stuff from him. Aside from the unfortunate death.
Did he go for 3 rocket storages there?
Yeah, I think he did. He just wanted to make sure to get enough momentum, as rocket storage, it's quite tricky. And I would even say that it's the most difficult part of Corona.
Mario, how dare you disturb
But that's
my
just
family
me.
vacation?
Let's see how if Bry Guy gets trolled by Bowser. Hopefully not. He will do the first platform on the left, so he don't have so he doesn't have to ground pound on a different position for the second to last, as he would have been required to do if he did the standard counterclockwise route. Guy attacking is pretty safe, but and he won't die, and he will be finishing
The high
for
125. Bry Guy not getting gooped once has to count for something. Alright, well, unfortunately, that's the end of our race. Unfortunately, Bry Guy has just been double eliminated by Rimato.
Yeah,
GG's to both our runners.
Yeah, we will get an interview with the safe warp proponent and ask him maybe about his decision to use safe warp during these races and what possibly went wrong and not.
Hello.
Yeah, okay, I think I could say good morning, I guess.
Yes.
So, yeah, Rimato had a really good run.
Definitely.
Which would have required you to play basically out of your mind, getting a 119. So I don't think that you're too sad with some of the deaths during your run then.
Definitely. I wish I had played a bit better, put up a better time, but yeah, I mean, Rimato played very, very well. And
yeah, okay, I think I could say good morning, I guess. So you are now eliminated from the tournament.
Unfortunately, yeah.
We would have liked to see more of the safe warp during the races.
Yeah.
Even though it is not really as easy to follow them who's ahead and not.
Yeah, that part is unfortunate. I feel like I just do it for races mostly because it's much safer. You get your lives refreshed after Pinna and then again after Noki. So it's much harder to game over.
That is true. I haven't thought about it.
So like after Honey Skip and my death on so I missed Honey Skip, right? But if I had died on Honey Skip and then my death on the Pinna 6 secret, I would have been down to 1 life, and like it's just much safer to use this route.
Yeah. So is this your only reason to do this route, or do you have?
Pretty much. I mean, having Rico at the end is kind of nice, but yeah, that was my main motivation for switching.
So is this only a route you decide to do during race times?
So I started doing it as my PB or as like in attempts to sort of practice for this. But yeah, because like if I'm going for PB, right, I shouldn't be dying more than once, maybe twice, and so then that part, shouldn't be a factor.
I mean, you can someday when you are like when your movement is like as good as Dutch race, you can die 6 times in secrets and still get a 119. Which
that's true. That's true.
But it would be a bit difficult still. But maybe when we have a tournament in like 1 or 2 years, we'll see you being able to get this time even with multiple deaths.
Yeah.
So pretty solid run, even despite some of the deaths and mistakes.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I played pretty well. It was just the deaths that sort of cost me. Like, just eliminate the deaths, and then I think my time would have been pretty decent.
Also, thanks for some of the old strats. It was It's basically a blast to the past.
Yeah, exactly.
See,
I just felt that those were more consistent and something I want to go for during races.
maybe considering how decent or how well Rimato played, they may have been required, but it's better to have make a great show, a good showing, than failing in strats you are inconsistent with.
Right, yeah, I just wanted to go with what I was comfortable with. Try to get like a 122, 123, which obviously I died a few too many times for that, but yeah, that was sort of my game plan going in.
Yeah, you were still on, I think, low 124 pace, which, yeah, it would have been a good time for this tournament.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, thanks for participating in this tournament.
For sure. This was a lot of fun, and thank you both for commentating.
Yeah, great run.
Thank you.
And,
have a good day, everyone.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Thanks for watching. Follow both the runners, and if you want, the commentators as well. But mostly the runners. Rimato will advance and get out of the group stage, and will be in the single elimination bracket, which will be sealed after this week. So stay tuned for this. Do you know what is coming next?
I know that there are more Sunshine runs at 5 p.m. Eastern Time.
Oh, really?
But yeah, I believe it's Chillin' Dude versus, I want to say, I don't have it up right now.
I think.
Yeah.
So we have American versus Japan race, which will be quite fun to see. And I think we have a Super Mario Odyssey race right now, and we're a bit over time. Excuse us. But stay tuned and see you.
All right, thank you guys for coming. Bye.